Welcome to the KZGN News. Today we'll bring you news from the City Council, county news, today's KZGN Talking Points editorial, and much more.
From the Rademacher Hills to Bee Mountain and the mighty Sierras, Ridgecrest to Inyokern and China Lake, this is your news for the Indian Wells Valley with the KZGN News Crew.
Hello, I'm Tom Whitnick. Thanks for joining us for the news affecting Ridgecrest and the Indian Wells Valley. Well, in news from the county, the Board of Supervisors met this afternoon and took up the action to approve the Kern County Land Use Management Plan. This plan has been recommended by county staff as a start to slowing down the water overdraft many people are seeing in their wells. The main emphasis of the plan was to do rezoning to limit the opportunity for large agricultural growth. It also accepts the Navy's Air Corridor study showing flight routes in the Indian Wells Valley. And finally, it adopts some of the Indian Wells Valley Water District water conservation requirements on new landscaping for county residents. Last week, the board met here in Ridgecrest to get inputs from everyone about the plan. It was a long 6-hour meeting. The board gave everyone the opportunity to provide comments, and over 50 people did just that. Well, this afternoon, the board took it up for discussion in Bakersfield. They approved the new plan. So after months of meetings and debates, the plan is approved. In city news, tomorrow evening, the Ridgecrest City Council meets for their regular meeting. The meeting will be at 6 p.m. in the City Council chambers at City Hall. The meeting will open with presentations. First, they'll make a presentation of a proclamation declaring Motorcycle Awareness Month for May. Next, they'll provide a presentation of a proclamation declaring National Emergency Medical Services Week for May 17th through 23rd. Then they'll have a presentation of a proclamation declaring National Public Works Week from May 17th to the 23rd. And finally, they'll get a presentation of Waste Management 2015 performance by HF&H Consultants. Items for approval on the consent calendar are: they'll consider adopting a resolution to accept funding from the Transit System Safety, Security, and Disaster Response account under the California Transit Security Grant Program for a corporation yard security gate, and authorizing the city manager or his designee to execute all documents to gain the funding. Next, they'll discuss adopting a resolution rejecting all bids regarding a construction contract for the signal synchronization on South China Lake Boulevard from California Avenue to Bowman Avenue. This item is because all bids received were well over the estimated cost of the project, so the staff is recommending rejecting all bids, then respec the project, and then go out for a new set of bids. Then they'll have a recommendation to adopt a resolution to move funds from the street maintenance account, street repair supplies, to other miscellaneous equipment account. This is to purchase a pneumatic asphalt compactor roller. Next, they'll consider a resolution of the City Council of the City of Ridgecrest to approve the revised rate request for solid waste services and adjust the administrative fee by 1.8% for fiscal year 15-16. I really think this should be on the regular agenda item, not on the consent calendar. But this item will raise the monthly rates to city users of waste management service for trash and recycling. This request is part of the contract Waste Management has with the city. It includes the ability to raise rates annually. One rate that will not change is for the recycling for residential customers. That rate will continue to be no increase in fee. And finally, on the consent calendar, they'll approve draft minutes of the Ridgecrest City Council, Successor Redevelopment Agency, Financing Authority, Housing Authority meeting dated May 6, 2015. The next part of the meeting is for discussion and other action items. First, they'll conduct a public hearing regarding the annual assessments for the Landscaping and Lighting District number 2012-1 and adopt a resolution approving the annual engineer's report and ordering the levy and collection of assessments for fiscal year 2014-15. This is mostly an area in the College Heights area. Then they'll have a discussion of budget projections for fiscal year 2014-15. City Finance Director Rachel McQuiston will provide the council with an update of the city's financial condition. So if you're interested in any of these items and want to provide comments, attend the Ridgecrest City Council meeting tomorrow evening. The meeting will be at 6 p.m. in the City Council chambers at City Hall. In Cerro Costa College news, the Cerro Costa Community College bid farewell to more than 330 students during their 42nd annual commencement exercise held in the gymnasium of the Raymond A. McHugh Athletic Complex last Friday. Friends, relatives, staff, and faculty gathered to honor the class of 2015. From the Ridgecrest campus, East Kern Center at Edwards Air Force Base, Kern River Valley Center in Lake Isabel, and Cerro Coso Online. The 330 graduates receiving degrees and certificates is a 28% increase over last year's graduate numbers. 347 associate degrees and 134 certificates of achievement were awarded. 7 students are 4.0 graduates, 18 graduated with honors, and 51 were Phi Theta Kappa honor graduates. Retiring psychology professor Dr. Mary Peoples served as faculty marshal for the ceremony. The Academic Senate selected 3 graduates from the Ridgecrest campus to address the assemblage. Nicholas Elder, an AA Liberal Arts, Social and Behavior Science, and Arts and Humanities, Christina Ogilvie, AA in Liberal Arts, Math and Science, and Beverly Wood, AA Liberal Arts, Arts and Humanities. The Cerro Coso Alumni Association invited outstanding alumnus Shauna Merriman to share some of her relevant experiences to encourage the graduates. Merriman grew up in Ridgecrest. She studied at Cerro Coso following graduation from Burroughs High School in 1992. In 1997, she transferred to New York State School for Ceramics and Alfred University, where she learned a bachelor's degree of fine arts in 2001. She received her master's in fine arts from Ohio State University in 2003. She has since worked as an artist, teaches in academia, and exhibits art in both group and solo shows across the country, as well as in Germany. She recently returned from Dresden, Germany, where she taught for 3 years at the Academy of Fine Arts. She also completed a German master's studies in art there. Currently, she teaches ceramics and sculpture at the University of Connecticut and Connecticut College. The Ridgecrest Community Band, conducted by Deborah Viet, provided music for the festivities. The commencement was closed by Cerro Coso President Board, saying, "You are our inspiration and our motivation. We couldn't be more proud of what you have accomplished here at Cerro Coso Community College." With that, the graduates stood and cheered. And on a personal note, as a proud grandfather, I have to extend my congratulations to my granddaughter, Jolene Sen, for she was one of those 330 graduates. Way to go, Jolene! In human interest news, we have received this request. Premature baby in need of blood. Kinsley Stockwell was born on March 18th at 27 weeks gestation and weighed 1 pound 7 ounces. Her 2 siblings born with her did not survive. She has been in the neonatal ICU ever since. Infections and other issues have caused her to need a positive CMV platelets and O-negative CMV blood. She will need this for the next 2 weeks. Please make blood and platelet donations in her name under fund code 907. The family will be reaching out to family and co-workers in Lake Isabel and Ridgecrest at upcoming blood drives. The baby's father, Chris, works at China Lake. Please donate at the upcoming Ridgecrest blood drive on May 20th, noon to 6 at the Kerr-McGee Center, or on May 27th, 10 to 4 at the Branch Medical Clinic on base. Stay tuned for today's KZGN Talking Points when we come back. Now it's time for the 43rd KZGN News Talking Points editorial. Should police departments be prohibited from accessing excess military equipment for their departments? But first I want to mention that last Friday I got stopped by a gentleman at the gas station. He commented to me about one of my past editorials. Since the comment was about an editorial some time ago, I won't get into it again. However, I did appreciate his stopping me and providing me more information. This was information I didn't have. Thank you, sir. Now on to today's editorial. Should police departments be prohibited of accessing excess military equipment for their departments? Did you happen to see the New York Times report providing the president's opinion about police departments getting excess military equipment? Here's what the New York Times reported. The president announced Monday that he was barring the federal government from giving certain types of military-style equipment to local police forces and sharply restricting others, and called for a broader shift in law enforcement practices across the country, in which community connections and transparency are the norms and mistrust and aggression are the exceptions. So here's the president saying that he is moving to stop the flow of excess military equipment to police departments. This is from a man that has no concept of what it is to be a police officer. He has no concept of standing strong in the face of a riot and being outnumbered 100 to 1. He has no idea about the officers' families watching the TV news showing their husbands, wives, fathers, and mothers out there standing in a rigid line to stop a riot when they are just hoping that they live through the riot and come home safe and well. Let's take it a step down from the riot scenario. How about when officers have to serve search warrants on drug labs? Oftentimes, these are well-armed people holed up behind steel-reinforced structures that you can't just bust in by hitting the door with a breach tool. How about them searching out suspected terrorists? Shouldn't departments be allowed to have the necessary equipment to protect themselves from bombs going off? Let's even take it to another level. What about in times of weather disaster or earthquakes? Oftentimes, surplus military equipment can be well used in these terrible times. Distribution of food and supplies and aid and relief efforts can be better accomplished using former military vehicles and equipment. A standard police cruiser does not get around well in disasters. There are lots of occurrences that the use of excess military equipment can be well utilized by local governments and police departments. Again, this is the federal government overstepping their responsibility, thinking they know what's best for the cities and counties that are on the front lines in times of civil unrest or disasters. I say it is none of their business how the city and county police departments equip themselves. This is a local issue, an issue to be decided by the local governments and the police departments. What's next? Ban the use of bulletproof vests so the officer doesn't look intimidating? The president thinks this banning of equipment would improve relations between the police and communities they serve. Again, this is the federal government thinking they know what is best for me and my town. I've lived in Cleveland, Ohio, El Paso, Texas, Flagstaff, Arizona, and came to Ridgecrest, California in 1979. Well, newsflash, Mr. President, I have never feared any of those police departments. I have never thought of them as the enemy. Whenever I was approached by a police officer and asked questions, I stopped, answered their questions, and then moved on. I didn't run away from them. When I called the police to come and help me for a particular problem, they always came to help me. And I was never worried about the equipment they had. The officers on the street deserve to have the best and most current equipment they have available. They are the front line and first responders when disaster hits. We expect them to be there when we need them. We expect them to do their jobs to protect and serve. We expect them to protect our cities and towns from bad people. We expect them to be there in times of weather and earthquake disasters. And guess what, Mr. President? They are always there. The feds won't be there when the next riot hits. The feds won't be there when the next terror attack hits. The feds won't be there when the next tornado or earthquake hits. Our local police officers and county sheriffs will be. They deserve and need to have the best equipment available to do their job. Remember, Mr. President, all that military equipment was bought with tax dollars, our tax dollars. The equipment is not yours to decide who it goes to. The equipment is our equipment. When the military is done with the equipment, letting it flow down to we the people is the right thing to do. Here's a video of what it can mean to have the right equipment to protect and serve. This is not a standard fire truck. It's a military truck adapted to local needs. In conclusion, Mr. President, butt out of local affairs. You and your advisors don't have all the answers. You don't know what is right for local communities. Do not interfere with our local police departments getting the equipment they need. Our lives depend on them. Yours doesn't. I'm Tom Whitnick, and that's what I think. I'd like to know what you think. If you have any comments about this editorial or would like to discuss or recommend a topic, I'd like to hear from you. Please email them to info@kzgn.net. Stay tuned for weather and sports after the break. Thanks for staying with us. Let's go to Keith for the weather.
Thank you, Tom. The National Weather Service is forecasting a slight risk of severe thunderstorms Tuesday evening across West Texas and southwestern Oklahoma. A marginal risk stretching from eastern New Mexico across West and North Texas and into southern Oklahoma. There is a marginal risk of severe weather across parts of the Northeast. Temperatures across the region. Massachusetts came in at 59, Carolinas 81, northern and southern Florida 81 and 83, Atlanta, Georgia 78 degrees, Texas 80 degrees, North Dakota 44, Montana 43, Idaho at 54, Arizona 70, Southern Oregon 58 degrees, San Francisco came in at 55, and Los Angeles came in at 57. And for us locally in the IWV, tonight will be mostly clear with a low around 56, south-southwest wind 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusts as high as 20. Wednesday will be sunny with a high near 81, south-southwest wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. Wednesday night will be mostly clear with a low around 56, west-southwest wind 10 to 15 miles per hour with gusts as high as 20. Thursday will be sunny with a high near 78, south wind 5 to 15 miles per hour. Thursday night, 20% chance of showers after 11 p.m., partly cloudy with a low around 55, west-southwest wind 10 to 15 miles per hour with gusts as high as 25. And on Friday, a 20% chance of showers with thunderstorms possible after 11 a.m., mostly sunny with a high near 78, southwest wind 5 miles per hour. And that is your local forecast, and back to Tom and the rest of your KZGN News.
Thanks, Keith. Now let's go to Tom Heck for the sports report.
And a very pleasant Tuesday afternoon to everybody. Let's start with some good news. Burroughs High School Baseball, they will have a home game Friday afternoon at 3:15 over at Burroughs High School. They will take on Granite Hills, a team from the Desert Sky Conference, a team that we used to play in league every year. A fairly good program, a little bit down this year, but Burroughs off to one of their best starts ever with an 8-2 conference record. Burroughs overall 18-6, and that is one of their best records going into the playoffs in years. John Bradley's team doing very well for the first year in the Mojave River Valley League. Now again, that game will be Friday. If they win that game, they would play the following Tuesday, and the site to be determined, and the team and opponent to be determined probably on Saturday. All right, the Angels had some trouble up north. They lose in Toronto. The Angels allowed Toronto 17 hits yesterday. Toronto led 4-0 early. The Angels came back to take a 5-4 lead, and then Toronto opened things up. They have a big 6th inning. They put up 5, and they went on to beat the Halos 10-6. The same two teams tonight at the Rogers Center in Toronto. The good news for the Angels, Chris Iannetta, their catcher, who has really been struggling. I mean, he was hitting about $120, had 2 doubles yesterday and a home run. So hopefully he'll get his feet back under him, so to say. All right, in the NBA tonight, it'll be Golden State and Houston. That'll be game number 1 of the Western Division Finals. Now, Golden State is coming off a 6-game win over Memphis. It took them 6 to win the series, 4-2. Meanwhile, Houston and the Clippers battled it out. They went on and played Sunday in Game 7, with Houston winning that game and going on. Doc Rivers, the coach for the Clippers, said hopefully what will happen after that tough 7-series loss is his team will fight harder, work harder over the summer to get better and improve. All right, Clippers had a golden opportunity to close it out, Game 6 last Thursday night in L.A. Couldn't quite get it done. All right, Cleveland and Atlanta tonight. Now, Cleveland, of all people, LeBron James, they were the team that I picked to win the East originally. However, they've had a lot of injuries. Kevin Love will not play any part of the series. He was hurt back in game number 2 of the first round of the playoffs. So we'll have to wait and see. Atlanta, Mike Budenholzer, the coach of the year, they have had their best year in ages. In fact, you have to go back to when they were the St. Louis Hawks before they moved to Atlanta for the best record in franchise history. All right, a strange thing down in Florida. Dan Jennings is the GM for the Marlins. Well, he fired his field manager 2 days ago and then decided that he would be the manager for the remainder of the season. Well, does he have any experience? He never played minor league baseball. In fact, we're not even sure he played high school baseball. He never coached one day in the minors or majors or anything else that anyone can find. But he has decided to be the field manager for the remainder of the year. The Marlins are in next to last place and don't look for things to get any better right now. I don't think a managerial change is going to do much there. Just a lot of young guys and way under the salary cap there also. It's all about money nowadays for the teams in baseball. All right, from the scoreboard, the Phillies beat Colorado. Chicago winner yesterday. They beat Cleveland. Oakland stopped Houston. Boy, Houston had a 5-game winning streak, and they beat the Astros 2-1. In fact, they limited the Astros to only 2 hits. The Astros swept over a very good Toronto team over the weekend in Houston. Milwaukee beats Detroit. That slows them down. And the rivals tonight, the Dodgers will be up in San Francisco in the Bay Area. The Dodgers off to a good start, 24 wins, 13 losses, coming off a 1-0 win against Colorado Sunday at Chavez Ravine. The Giants now starting to play better baseball. They were one time 6 games under 500. They're now 2 games over at 20-18. The defending baseball champions, the San Francisco Giants. Your sports for Tuesday. I'm Tom Heck, KZGN Sports.
So that's the news for today. All of us at KZGN-TV know you have a choice in what you watch for your news. We all thank you for choosing KZGN-TV, Ridgecrest's only community TV station.